Freedom Planet is caught in a really interesting situation right now, because one of its biggest praises when it originally came out was that it was the best Sonic game we'd gotten in years. That is no longer true. Mania and Forces were both amazing for the same reason. They appeal to people already lost in the fan base. Mania revels in nostalgia without forgetting to actually learn from those games it's celebrating and improve on them in every possible way, while Forces is the more official Twitter account and Christian side of that coin. It's intentionally as dumb as possible and doesn't pretend to be anything more. Like, if that line about modern Sonic having not seen classic Sonic for generations got a smile out of you, even if you're cringing at the same time, you're probably gonna like Forces. The point is, Sonic is back, which makes it even more amazing that in this day and age, Freedom Planet still stands out. That's because the devs didn't restrict the game to what it was inspired by. I mean, the DNA is still there, but they also put so much of themselves into it that it morphed into an idea and a world that could stand on its own two legs even after the niche it was originally meant to fill has gone back to normal. This is the golden Frieza of fan games, the true final form of a project born from love of someone else's work. It's peppy and beautiful and colorful all at the same time, but it's also incredibly good at both making you fall in love and breaking your heart. But forget about all that for a second. You know why I love this game? Because the planet in Freedom Planet feels like an actual place. There's a sense of scale to these areas, like you could stare off into the background and the landscape would go on forever. There's a defined sense of culture and history that pervades every element of these characters' lives. It shapes their buildings, their outfits, their entire existence. And this is in a platforming game. How? Believe it or not though, that's just the icing on the delicious purple cake that is this level design. Tons of stage elements to interact with, like ladders, ramps, loops, boost rings, moving platforms, handholds, walls to climb, barriers to break, and so much more. Keep you constantly interested in what's going on. You, as the player character, are the focus here. Everything in these stages is moving in response to you and how you interact with it, which makes you feel even more like you're a part of what's going on. I mean, for crying out loud, there's a disco ball in stage 3 that makes you dance if you idle in front of it. How cool is that? This is complemented by incredibly tight enemy and hazard placement that keeps you on your toes and working out the best way to move forward safely. Not necessarily quickly, though don't get me wrong, it's still satisfying to do that too. See, contrary to Sonic, these stages are just begging you to explore them, to stop and smell the flowers and maybe pick up a couple star cards along the way. And if you don't need the health from that flower, don't worry, it turns into more crystals towards another extra life instead. But my favorite part of the collectibles is that they don't feel heavy-handed. Nobody's holding an extra stage or a super form over my head if I don't grab all of them, and ironically, that makes me way more willing to seek them out on my own, because I don't feel like I'm being forced to. I'm not missing any important content if I don't grab every single one of these freaking things. It's just there if I want it. And that's something I wish I saw more of in games like this. No matter how you approach these levels though, you've got your pick of the litter when it comes to characters. If there's a Hall of Fame for excellent game mechanics, I nominate Lilac's Dragon Boost. It's like a spin dash you can do in any direction. It's an all-purpose tool for dealing massive damage, leaping to out-of-reach areas, and getting back your acceleration when you feel like going fast again. Combine that with her wicked combos of punches and kicks and the ever-satisfying Cyclone, and Lilac ends up having so much depth to her that, honestly, the jump to a fighting game wouldn't be too far of a stretch. And she's just one character. You get 3 of them. Also pick up the soundtrack because are you listening to this music right now? If I could be sustained by sound, I would eat this OST for lunch every freaking day. All these tracks are bouncing with irresistibly catchy hooks and melodies, or pumping with enough adrenaline and atmosphere to make you genuinely on edge. They're so well composed that talking over one of them right now honestly feels like I'm doing something wrong. Like, the character select theme is legitimately one of the best songs I've ever heard, and most people won't even be on that screen long enough to get to its best parts and realize how good it really is. Are you actually mad? Who goes through that kind of trouble? Layla Wilson, Steven Diduro, and Shane Ellis of Galaxy Trail, that's who. I cannot sing this game's praises enough. It let me drive a motorcycle up walls, and that wasn't even the best part. It's got a sequel releasing next year, and you better believe I'm on the edge of my seat in anticipation. But on the off chance somebody working on that game is watching this, I do have one question. Really? A 20-minute cutscene? Come on, man.